He's going to kick off episode 2 of Smoke to Success. And I appreciate you just for taking the time. I also thank you for coming over.
Oh, no, man, it's my pleasure, man. I'm always down to get some work in, and happy to see that this is something you're doing. One thing I'll say about you, Alon, is that you set a target, you always go for it, man. So you've been talking to me about doing this podcast months ago, man. And I'm, you say, hey, man, I want you to be in one of my first few episodes. So you're a man of your word. You hit me up and say, hey, Steve, I want you. So I'm like, I'm here. So let's do this, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Definitely appreciate those words. I try to, set out to do everything I do. Obviously, what we do on a day-to-day business. We worked together for a while. Before we get forward, definitely got to thank Dennis for getting me out here, for letting me use the spot here in Davie, Smoking Gun. So check it out if you ever get a chance. And like I said earlier, thank God. Like, God put me in this position. God allowed me to be able to do this. Something I enjoy doing. It's gonna grow into more things, but at the end of the day, I truly enjoy this, passing out information that I've been able to acquire through the people I've met. And like I said, God put those podcasts, put those videos in front of me for a reason. Take that information and bring it out, because we ain't supposed to hold the knowledge down.
Exactly, man. I agree with you 1,000%. And as someone who more recently started developing his faith a lot, I started to understand that, the things that we're doing is, we're almost a mere vessel for a lot of the stuff that we're doing. I mean, we get put in a lot of amazing, incredible positions. I mean, you wouldn't believe the kind of, well, shoot, you would know.
I know. You would know. I know. They might not know, but I know.
The people that we get to meet, and the meetings that we get to have, and the places that we get to go, man, it's there's a lot of things that are moving forces behind the scenes that unbeknownst to us, and the only thing that we can do is just give praise to God, and
Amen.
continue to work in our purpose, because that's what I feel like we're doing.
Amen. I agree with you 100%. Little introduction about Steven. I met him about 3 or 4 years ago now. It's been a while. He's on the board of the BPN, Black Professionals Network. They were doing an event. And some reason, I used to go there for events, and some reason after months, something just told me to just check my phone and see if they're doing anything. I saw him talking about business in Africa. We were working a couple projects that were geared towards Africa, so I'm like, this would actually be a good thing for me to go check out. Listen to him. Everybody did an amazing job. Presentation, you did an amazing job. At the end, I was like, hey, I'd like to link up, because we have a couple of things that we might have in common. He's like, okay, let's set it up. Sat down, me, him, my business partner, Eric. And yeah, I mean, that's where it kicked off. That's where it kicked off. Like he said,
we spoke for maybe 2-3 hours when we first met.
Mm-hmm.
And just we met at the
Citadel.
Citadel.
The Citadel.
I remember.
The Citadel.
Yeah, met at the Citadel. Just talk, man. I mean, you guys opened up my mind to a lot of stuff I had no idea about, and I think it was a lot of mutual exchange of knowledge and information. That's one thing I'll say, and why I think we've transcended not only business partners but friends.
Of course.
Is that we're always want to share the information that we got, so we can try to help build each other up, build up our network, and obviously everybody proliferate together.
Definitely. At the end of the day, they talk about how, self-made, this, that. At the end of the day, I don't care who you are, no such thing as self-made.
Yeah.
You do it with others,
Absolutely.
If it's lonely at the top, it's because you chose to be lonely at the top.
100,
We do this with others. At the end of the day, no matter what you do, even if you hit the lottery, you became a millionaire because a million people put $1 in the pot. So there's no self-made millionaire. So let's get that out the way right now. There's no overnight success, because every work that we've been putting, like I said, we're about to be overnight success because of what we did for the past 4 years just grinding. So overnight success, we can count that out the equation too. That doesn't exist. Everything that you've put in beforehand is what's going to lead to your outcomes. Pure and simple.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you're basically planting a seed, over, over the course of your whole life. I mean, seeds are being planted, in your subconscious, things that you desire. For me as a young kid, I always wanted to be in business. I used to sell, things at school. I was one of those kids that have a duffel bag full of, chips, and candies and stuff. Wanted to sell it, make some extra income. I came from a single parent household, and for me, if I wanted to do extracurricular activities or have just pocket money, really, I just would go out there. A lot of my close friends at the time, we used to have a little clique, and when we used to do fundraisers or certain things, we would sell chocolate or whatever, just trying to find a way, and just kind of fast forwarding to now, it's just another, we're just taking things a step above, and it's the nature versus nurture, it's in our nature to want to grind and do a lot of things, and then you get nurtured by the people around you. You help develop and cultivate relationships, and then build things, outward from there.
Yeah, on you and me, we have a couple very similar situations because we're both first generation, right? Yeah, my family came to this country as yours did, obviously from different countries, but mine being from Cuba, come to this country, to a country that they didn't speak the language that, even, let's be honest, sometimes a lot of people didn't even want them there. But back in the days, Miami wasn't this Hispanic, like Hialeah was mainly just all white Americans, and they just transitioned over the time. So coming to the country, learning how to start from the bottom. My grandfather ended up building a couple businesses for himself. My father built a business for himself that he ended up selling, and it's just, you see that, and my mom even always instilled it to me, like, work for somebody, don't work, work for yourself, don't work for somebody. And it's just something that I was like blessed at the end of the day that I was taught that, because most people aren't taught that. Very well that you just see it around. Your son's blessed because he gets to see you do it.
Absolutely.
You just came back from Dubai. How was that?
Oh man, it's Dubai, first of all. I should give credit to the whole UAE in general, really. I spent time in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and just so many amazing things to do there. People are migrating, especially since the pandemic.
Definitely.
I would say, the amount of people that are relocating to the UAE, not only because of the tax benefits, which is amazing. There's no bonus tax, no income tax, no corporate tax, or for free zone locations, they just incorporated a 9% tax on companies that are based on the mainland. But ultimately, the entire UAE is really diversified themselves in a huge way to bring in a lot of talent, resources, not just financial resources, but resources from skill sets, relationships. Science and technology is huge, and that's actually what I was there for, those renewable energy projects. And they're basically really, I would say, the top governance country I've ever been to, period. And I've been to countries all over the world, in South America, Africa, Europe, and when it comes to UAE, their governance is just such a high level, so it makes sense why they have as many expats as they do. I think about 90% of the country is all expats.
Yeah, that's crazy. Especially the way things are kind of matriculating and changing with the tax codes. Right now they're only going to get higher. I think people are starting to get a little fed up with paying more than their fair share. I tell people all the time, everybody wants to complain about taxes and the wealthy paying the amount of taxes they pay, etc., this, that. First of all, let's just be very fair. They pay more into taxes than any of us pay.
Any of us. I think they pay about almost, if I remember right, they pay anywhere from between 60 to 70% of all taxes are paid by the 1%. All taxes, period.
It's crazy because the people complaining, they pay $10,000 throughout the whole year in taxes, and they get a check back for $10,000. So you paid $0, but you're complaining that they pay 4% to 2%. But it's just the way the system's been set up. And the thing is, most people don't understand the way the game is, that you could take advantage of it too.
Absolutely.
You will know research to find out how you can take advantage or hire the right professionals. Now with the financial services company, I'm big into life insurance and retirement plans, wealth estate building, and that's one of the biggest cheat codes there is into the way you pay taxes, is that life insurance, and throughout that whole game, because that's the way the laws are set up, so they can take advantage of them. And you can, I can, anybody can. It's just, will you? Do you have the information? Are you willing to go out and find the information to be able to set those in place?
Absolutely, and I think it all starts with understanding that there's more out there. All right, I think it's one of the things that I always say is that it's a mindset to these things, right? Because you can have someone, let's say, that's living in an impoverished community. You can have two people literally living in the same house, and their mindset could be dynamically different, and they can go on two different trajectories because of their mindset. One of them is eager to learn why things are the way that they are. And once you have that hunger and that desire for knowledge, then you're able to start asking questions, right? And not only asking any question, you start to develop and start understanding that you need to ask the right questions. And from those right questions, more things will start to reveal themselves to you. And obviously, I mean, it's 2022. We got the freaking internet. I mean, there's basically no information that cannot be found, you know, from literally your phone. The value of technology, what it could do to help your life, and you know, just being able to connect with other people electronically, connect with other individuals that's looking to secure the same information that you are. There's so many ways out there to really boost up yourself in a major way in a very short amount of time, especially in the U.S. I mean, I think the American dream is still a reality here in the U.S. I think it's definitely changed from maybe when my parents was, you know, first came to this country or where they are now. Things are dynamically different, but I think it's also still easier, I mean, to make money now than it's ever been, you know, I mean, especially when it comes to social media, I mean, you know, e-commerce, there's so
Crypto,
many, I mean, there's so many different ways to make money. You just kind of just find your niche.
And at the end of the day, if you were to go to school at 18 and say you want to become a doctor, for example, so you got 4 years of regular traditional school, and you know what is it, another 8 years on top of that? So you're talking about 12 years where you're probably $1 million into debt 12 years down the road. So you're 30 years old, you just became a doctor, you're gonna start at a salary, which is a high salary in, you know, comparison to average, but you're also $1 million in debt behind. Imagine if you just started this business when you're 18 and you took 12 years of hard knocks like experience and less life lessons, and let's see, who's gonna start off in a better position 12 years down the road? That's $1 million less of debt that you have that goes towards your net worth, of course, and counts against your net worth if you are $1 million in the hole. And at that, after those 12 years of, you know, doing one thing consistently and growing your business, who knows what that salary is? It's exponential. It's literally whatever you want to be, you know, because you put in the work for it.
No, absolutely, and I think, you know, there is a merit to college and traditional education, but that's if you're doing something from a skill-based perspective. Right?
Facts.
So if you're like an engineer, as you mentioned, doctor, lawyer, those things, because, you know, we still need those professionals.
Oh, 100%.
They're still immensely valuable. But to your point, I mean, I think there's a myriad of different ways for individuals to acquiesce themselves to, you know, with a way to really develop their lifestyle. You know, case in point, you know, when it comes to, you know, tech jobs right now, you know, there's over 1 million, you know, tech jobs are unfilled right now. We're talking about salaries are in the excess of 100K just to start off.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there that can literally go through a program that takes them 3 months, 4 months, and they're making 80K, 100K right when you get out.
Yeah, it's actually funny because that's the path of my brother. My brother went to UPenn for mechanical engineering as well. And he was about to go to Wharton on a business engineering, they had a program for business and engineering where they combined the two. And took the summer off, went to San Francisco, took a coding course, and now for the past 5 years he's a coder. So it's like, okay, I'm sure everything he learned, I mean, the connections alone, I mean, I've told you some of the people he knows, and he's met through his UPenn buddies. So the connections alone, going back to networking, that's invaluable, right?
Yeah,
so that's going to stay with him forever. And the knowledge he learns will stay with him as well. But, you know, he went 4 years and then a completely diverting path that he could have done at 18. You know, obviously different results, you know, you're going to get, you still want to get that 4 years, you want to get those network because your network is your net worth. But it's just funny, you know, completely changed path because, like you said, 1 million jobs. Like that is what it is right now. Like this world is a technology, like we're gearing heavy technology gear.
Oh man, it's huge, you know, and you know, especially I know we mentioned, you know, crypto and that particular. I mean, we're talking about just the crypto space alone. I mean, my God, you know, not even crypto. I should say blockchain technology.
Yeah.
Really, because that's where the real immense value is going to come. I mean, we're talking about a nascent marketplace right now that's only, you know, when it comes to altcoins, maybe it's about a value market cap of about $2 to $3 trillion market cap. But when it comes to like the tokenization of, you know, real world assets, I mean, that marketplace is about 600 billion, and we're talking about a global a global shift into blockchain technology where we're basically going to take trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of assets and put it on the blockchain, right? And that's going to be the next dynamic shift. I mean, just this past Friday, President Biden signed an executive order to go into crypto. Not necessarily to go into crypto, but to investigate how to be more, to get a hold on it, right? Because the biggest thing is, you know, when it comes to geopolitical structures, you know, everybody wants to be first place, right? And the U.S. has positioned themselves to be first place in a myriad of different things, from war to medicine to technology, and you know, the blockchain has been different. So for them, you know, since they're put in the positions to regulate and develop this marketplace, that means that they see immense value in it, you know. So you have to kind of follow the trends, and obviously, you know, crypto really started in 2008 after the GFC, the Great Financial Recession, in 2008, and that's actually when I first started college. I mean, it was
me too.
It was
same age,
literally a couple days,
5 days apart. Yeah,
crazy.
It's crazy.
And you know, it's just literally just started off going to school, you know, in the recession, you know, so it's just crazy to see that change, and that's from, you know, that's where Bitcoin started to where it is now. It's $1 trillion, you know, asset class.
I mean, 2008 was a big time for me too. Like you said, the crash of 2008. I actually made a lot of very lucrative investments. I bought Ford for like 50 cents. I sold it for like $15. I mean, Citibank. I can name a couple that I bought. I mean, at that time, you know, you really can't lose when you buy at the floor. You really can't, because all the bailouts, everything, you know where it's going. It's going back up. So I agree 100% with you. And honestly, whether the people who really love crypto like it or not, unless the governments get their hand around and kind of utilize it, it's not going to be what they want it to be.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not.
And they have to jump into the fray. It's important. You know, they already have certain regulations. You have FinCEN, which is the financial sector for regulations, and then you have the SEC, of course, which is the Security and Exchange, and they have certain regulations. But there's not a regulatory body that basically monitors all the blockchain, right? And which is what they're going to go towards. Right?
Yeah, it's an app.
And then they have this thing called, which is the CBDC, which is another thing that they put, which is the central bank digital currency, which is another thing the executive order covered as well, issuing digital assets now. Mm-hmm. So now we're talking about the digital dollar, which the dollar is already digital.
Exactly.
But there's a lot. I mean, we could have a 5-hour conversation about the monetary system and how it actually works. M1, M2, M3 funds, and you know how banks operate with the Federal Reserve. I mean, that's a whole rabbit hole on its own, and people do your research on that. How it really is, we're just playing with monopoly money. I mean, the Federal Reserve, you know, printed more money over the last 2.5 years during the pandemic that has been printed in the entire existence of the American government. We're talking about, I think, $7 trillion in 2 years.
Everybody at Citibank decides to take their money out at the same exact time, you'll see what happens.
Exactly. They call that a bank run.
Exactly.
They literally did what they did in Cyprus. You know, I think in Cyprus in 2014 or 15, you know, they did a bank holiday. They closed every single bank in the country for about 2-3 weeks. People basically had what they call austerity measures, where they couldn't pull out a certain amount of money. They only could pull maybe $100, $200 out of their account, and that was it. And basically what ended up happening is because Cyprus was basically hemorrhaging money, and mind you, there was a lot of Russians there too, so there was some influences by Russia involved in this as well. But they ended up doing literally a flat tax, I think, of anywhere from 10 to 50% of people's monies in their bank accounts to shore up their banks, because they didn't have enough liquidity. So they needed to do that.
Yeah, I was reading about that as well, because they were actually offering, if I'm not mistaken, they were offering people who had large withholdings in the bank ability to buy portions of the bank with the funds that were in their bank already, correct?
Correct, yeah, they were doing, you can get like a bond from them, paper from them, so they're definitely, they were hurting. I mean, and that's going back to crypto, the whole entire crypto market was developed from the GFC because people started to realize and understand that when it comes to the crypto space, when it comes to the financial system, everything's backed by nothing. Right, gold, right? But then in 1973, Nixon took us off the gold standard, and that dynamically increased the liquidity pool in terms of how much money was coming into the system. And now you just literally is just backed by the government. It's not backed by any type of actual assets. That's why they call it fiat, which is fake, basically.
Yeah, basically, I mean, that's exactly what it is. Most people now with crypto coming out, they're starting to understand that's the case. I couldn't say maybe a couple years ago that the majority of people knew this. So it's starting to get out there. People are starting to wake up too. Again, like you mentioned, that has to do with a little bit with the fact that all this information is made readily available to anybody. And this device, that you hold in your pocket, that's stronger than most computers.
Exactly. No, seriously. I mean that my phone, everybody's phone is, all it's a computer. It's you could do. It's a messenger. You can call people. I mean, there's so many different attributes to it, and as we talked about earlier, it's a tool that can be that can enable you to ascertain knowledge. Because at the end of the day, it's all about what you know.
Nope, 100%. I mean, it's what you know, it's who you know. I think at the end of the day, if you have those two things down locked, then basically the world's at your fingertips.
No, 100%. And for me, my growing up, my family, we talked about, they're immigrants. They didn't have the acumen for any of this stuff. So for me, most of everything I have is self-taught, and then through the years I started finding certain mentors. But I wouldn't call them official mentors, but I would say they're people that kind of took me under their wing for a period of time and just kind of imparted some knowledge. As the years progressed, started developing a lot more understanding on how certain things work through those relationships. So they were able to kind of give me certain key points that I thought that I needed to start thinking through a lot more. And once that curiosity is ignited, it's an amazing thing, because now you could literally spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours going down a rabbit hole for the information, because of the internet now, to acquire a lot of stuff that can help you.
Yeah, those rabbit holes are fun. But you touched on a key aspect that I value very highly, which is mentorship. At the end of the day, I tell people, basically what it is you have somebody who's been to where you're trying to go, and they're just going to teach you how to get there. You're out here hitting your head against the wall because you think that eventually it's going to break and you're going to get to the other side, and he's like, yo, 2 feet that way, make a left, there's a door.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But not enough people do that. Back in the days, actually, it was actually pretty prevalent. We're talking about way back with apprenticeship, which is pretty similar. It's more for a specific field, a trade, but you have somebody who became a master at something, and to pass that information all along, because the internet wasn't there, there weren't YouTube tutorials there. They taught somebody, they learned the trade, and they passed it down as well. Mentorship is just taking that information, something that you want to go, which I believe you should have multiple for different avenues of your life, because your mentor in business, might be divorced 5 times, and he's not gonna be the best mentor for your marriage.
Absolutely. Listen, you're 100% correct on that. And going through life, finding those mentors either for a season or they're there for your life. Just kind of making that distinction as to what kind of value that they can help you with. Either personal, professional, spiritual. I have a spiritual mentor, someone that I lean on now. One of my uncles, he's been married. I've been watching him. I would say he's probably one of the most successful people in my family. He's a really, really big shot attorney.
Oh, wow.
Works for a major law firm.
What's up with law?
I'm sorry?
What's up with law?
Well, right now he's doing litigation, but he's actually going back into the public sector. I don't want to spill his tea right now, but he's going to get a very major position with the federal government.
Oh, yeah, congratulations.
Very soon. Yeah,
he worked for it.
Funny enough, he's actually taking a major pay cut, but he, he's because he started out as a district attorney, and and went into the private sector. I mean, he literally just came back from Qatar like a month ago for a major client over there, one of the ruling families in Qatar, and he's doing a lot of major things. But his spirit is something he wants to help more people to get back in the public sector.
That's amazing.
And that's what he's doing. So I've been kind of leaning on him from like a spiritual and also a marriage standpoint. I haven't been in a long-term committed relationship in some time, and I'm trying to kind of find a way to mix relationships, God, work, all of those things, and kind of going back to the mentorship, kind of finding someone who's done it, somebody that I've seen my whole life since I was a baby. I've known him and how he's worked his way up to where he is now, and he still has all these things intact. And leaning on him and asking him questions. How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you overcome these situations? And this is something I'm still learning to develop, how to ask certain questions. It's a lifetime thing getting out.
Exactly. The day you figure it out is the day they're putting you 6 feet under. So, and that's the funny thing about life, or 18, 19, you know everything in the world. But then you're 60 years old and you realize you know nothing.
Yeah.
So I think it's the younger you can learn that you don't know as much as you think you know is the day you have immense growth. You start your path on growing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. My 5-year-old, he thinks he knows everything already. You ask him a question, he's like, I already know this. I know the rest. I'm like, boy, like, you don't know.
I like to say, I forgot it more than you learned.
yes. No, seriously.
So, no, trust me, I don't have any kids, but I see it all the time. The one thing I do like about kids, though, is that they're sponges, that they will soak up everything. And at the end of the day, I think the most important part about kids is that whatever, like, they believe they can do whatever they want. They can.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of things that most adults forget.
Yeah.
Like the old saying, whether you believe you can, whether you can't, you're right.
You're right.
So I think that's important. That's something that you should carry on, and that's honestly probably why I'm here today, because that's something I've never really let go of. I've never really let go of that feeling that I can do whatever I put my mind to it, and more times than not, I end up doing it. And if I don't, it just teaches me another way to do it.
Absolutely, man. You got it. Man, that's a great point that you just made, because my family, they're super supportive in terms of they want me to do well, but they don't understand business. Right? They're all professional people. We have a lot of nurses, doctors, lawyers, very professional people, traditionalist routes when it comes to things, which is something I do admire about them, because they've been living in that particular vertical in their life for decades. Right? And me growing up, I only went to school to become an engineer because one of my uncles was an engineer, right? It was not something that I truly desired. It was just something that, okay, I have a good acumen for technology, for math, science, those things. As I got older and working in my profession, it wasn't until I was 24 years old, working for a major telecom company, that I started to decide that I wanted to do more. I wanted to actually go back to my purpose, business. And that just kind of unlocked a lot of things. And so, going back to my son as well, for him, now I'm teaching him about money, I'm teaching him about relationships, I'm teaching him about a lot of different things. And he's such a bright kid, such a bright kid, and I'm so blessed that I'm able to impart the information that I can, with him, because by the time he's 18, trust me, he's going to be a multimillionaire of his own making. No question about it.
100%, yeah. It's funny because I'm taking a lot of this information I learned as well. You and your son were born together. We're meant to be together. Predetermined. Before he came into your life. And that's something that when I have my kids, they're gonna know about money from the very beginning. If you teach them when they're 2, 3 years old, something they're gonna hold on to them for the rest of their lives. The day they're born, as soon as I can, they're all getting life insurance policies, so we can build up a cash accumulation with them, tax-free money, all of them. They're gonna understand how it works. By the time they're 18, they can take a loan against it so they can build their own businesses. I'm creating my own success for myself, not necessarily like Shaq's likes to say. I read about it all the time. He's like, I'm a millionaire. He's like, you guys are. So, you want to, give them everything that they need to grow. You're obviously going to, at the end of the day, as a kid, you're going to spoil a little bit.
Yeah.
but not to the point to where it's going to be a detriment to them. You see a lot of these kids that were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and they end up doing, like, they end up, just blowing it all away because they never really appreciated the hard work that it took to get it, just given to them. So that's not the case for everybody. So it's not a blanket statement, but you just see it a lot. So I think it's important to instill in people, when you do have all that you can be able to give back tenfold. To instill the fact that, like, at the end of the day, we still have to work for it. Like, it wasn't given to me. It was, if we made for it, we made for it. That's what they say. A lot of second and third generation businesses, the failure rate is
super high,
is exponential.
Yeah.
Because they didn't build it from scratch. It's the grandfather that passes to the father. So the grandfather built it up from nothing. The father, maybe did a little status quo and just kind of let it plateau. But then the kids, their kids come and they just drop it down to the ground because they didn't do anything to it. They were just born into it. So it's important to know what it takes. It's important to appreciate the hard work that it takes to get everything together. It's all important. So I think passing that on to your kids, that will help them take what you built for yourself and build upon it. It's about building that legacy. It's about, like they say, making sure that your great grandkids know who your name is.
Yeah.
I don't think I know any of my great grandparents. I don't think so. Like I said, but one day it's gonna be like, oh no, I'm here because of great granddaddy Steven. So, and I think that's important. Is that you make a legacy for yourself, because guess what? I bet you the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, they knew who their great grandfather is.
Sure, I know them. I know their name. Yeah, they created a financial system.
Yeah, exactly.
So trust me, I know who they are, and their kids know who they are, and that's super important. I know for me, unfortunately, my father passed away, in 2017, and man, his death taught me so much, because I'm just when he died, I was just starting. I've only been maybe about 2 years at the moment. Starting my life as a business individual, and when he died, he didn't have a will, he didn't have an estate plan, he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything. So it was a nightmare. I mean, it took several months, and then we had to hire an
you got
attorney.
probate.
Oh man, it was a whole ordeal. And so after he died, guess what? We set up a life insurance for my son. We set up a will, did all these things internally. Myself and my partner at the time. We both was like, we gotta set something up, make sure that our son is protected, because at the time I didn't have anything. I didn't have a will for myself. I'm young, but at the same time, anything can happen. Tomorrow I can get hit. Right now I could lose it, or something can happen. But ultimately, anything is possible. Anything can happen. And I think when it comes to the knowledge base, my father, he's a super educated man. He had a master's degree, but when it came to like life and how things work, he was just a book smart guy. He wasn't like a street smarts, or he didn't understand how things really work. But I don't really fault him too much now. He moved here in his from Nigeria when he was in his I think his 30s, and he went to school, got education, did all these things. And ultimately for him, he died in a way where, he didn't have much, and so for me, I don't want to set that same example for myself. It's not possible, or any of my children.
No, I mean, like I said, Ben, it's unfortunate, sorry to hear about that story, but like, it's the story for a lot of people. And that's why I say it's important, because a lot of people don't understand like the value in estate planning. Well, like you said, I'm 30, I'm 32, I'm 33, I'm this, I'm that. I'm not worried about that right now. But at the end of the day, like, there's going to be a time where you need to worry about that. And it's better to do it when you're younger, because it's cheaper. It's more cost effective, than trying to do it when you're 70 years old, because now they're like, okay, there's more risk on their end.
Exactly.
So if you can take advantage of it in the beginning, you can do something with the cash accumulation policy, pays your retirement, still covers your debt, be able to transfer money tax free. Because what people don't understand is like, okay, let's say they even have a lot of things put into place, and all the wealth of your family gets passed on. Well, there's this thing called estate tax, which is a double tax.
Exactly.
And it's not a small tax.
Nope.
It is a very large number that people probably, I don't want to say it right now, because I'd have to go back and I believe I know the number right now off the top of my head. Don't want to say it because I don't have it specific down fact, but it's a large number, and think like, okay, well, they paid their tax on that money. Yeah, but the government's still going to pay you taxes if you're not set up in the right structures. Mm-hmm. That's where the trust comes into play. That's where life insurance comes into play. That's where the will comes into play. I mean, that all, it's so much that goes into this. it's better to just do it when you're younger, get it out the way, and you know that nobody has to worry about it, because at the time of a tragic loss, that's like one of the last things that you're thinking about. You're thinking about, oh my God, I lost my father, I lost my husband, I lost my wife. Oh my God, what am I gonna do now? I went from 2 incomes to 1 income. I went from this to that, and then on top of everything, now you, like you said, you have to go through lawyers, you have to go through probate, you have to fight, you're gonna pay taxes on the money you get. Like it's just too much to handle, and one of the most, honestly, one of the hardest times for anybody to go through is the loss of a loved one. So. It's important to get that set away, squared away, so you never have to think about it ever again.
Yeah.
You know, so that's important. Going on, like, you know, your father talking about that. You know, I was blessed to have a little bit of both worlds, and the fact that, you know, my father, when he came to this country, he was working like as a very young age. So work ethic was his thing. He worked hard. He worked hard for everything he had. My mom, she worked hard as well. She was in sales. She grew her sales, like she was a monster. She and Matt, you know, she had some months where she would make more than people make in a year in sales. You know, not even in their own business. So imagine, she knew the hard work ethic, but she was very big on the seminars, on the spirituality. She was very big on manifestation, on all of that. And I think I got the best of both worlds, because I got the whole manifestation, the knowledge, the spiritual with the hard work that my father taught me, and you put the two together, and it's a deadly combination.
Yeah, it is, man. It is, and it's you know, talking about that, you know, when it comes to family dynamics, man, they have a huge impact on your life. I mean, huge impact, you know, when it comes to, you know, like again, going back to the nature versus nurture thing, you know, how you're nurtured and the things that you see that your parents do. You know, for me, I mean, my father's death, it completely shifted my mindset. I was like, oh crap, I got to put these things in order. I started learning about, you know, insurance, tax-free wealth, income, and things like that, trust. You know, understanding, you know, how to use these things. It reminds me of this funny comment that Trump made during the 2018 elections cycle, when he was running against Hillary. You know, he was debating Hillary, and Hillary is like, oh, you know, yeah, this guy, he doesn't pay any taxes, and he doesn't do anything like that. He doesn't pay taxes. You know, he has all these companies and stuff like that. And Trump says, yes, because I'm smart.
Well, it's funny because that's also what's going on right now with Elon Musk and Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah,
you know, she's
exactly.
going in on him. He doesn't pay taxes. Well, he's the man who's paid more taxes in a single year than anybody in the history of the country.
Yes,
and then
literally just now when he liquidated his Tesla share.
Exactly, and then you're gonna go out and tell him that he doesn't pay taxes. Like, what are you talking about? If he doesn't, then who does? Nobody does. Yeah,
nobody pays taxes, but they don't understand. If you have a corporate entity, and a corporate entity is an operation, the people that's working in those companies, guess what? They're getting a salary, right? And there's taxes that are associated with these salaries. There's taxes that's involved with the locations, sales. I mean, a multitude of different things where taxes are taken out during the whole entire process. Mm-hmm. And to be frank, I mean, a lot of people can utilize these things to their benefits as well.
100%. All it does is get an LLC. You know, you can shift your bracket from one to another. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it doesn't work if you're just traditional W-2 employee. But you know, if you have a business, if you're 1099, self-employed, if you like I said, you start a business for yourself, you can start taking advantage of those. But that's what people don't understand. Like, as a traditional employee, you're not allotted or afforded a lot of those benefits that business owners are. So of course you're not going to understand them because they don't apply to you. So it's all about understanding it. You know, maybe, like I said, being a business owner, it's not for everybody. You know, employees are a necessity. I'm grateful for everybody. You know, I've been there, I've done that, and you know, I'm grateful for everybody. I'm grateful for anybody, because a lot of people are content in their life, and if you're content, who am I to judge you for living the way you want to live? Me personally, I'm the way I am because I have this, like, inside of me. No matter how many times, you know, this business route is like, oh, maybe I should just settle down, because I know I have the skill set to be able to just get a 9-to-5 with a very high salary. My knowledge, my people skills, just talking, you know, I can get that if I wanted to. But then I just sit about and think about 9-to-5, you know, 2-week vacation, you know, picket fed, you know, White House, picket feds. I just can't, I can't wrap my head around that, because I know, like, it's not gonna be fair to anybody in my family, because I'm not gonna be happy. Yeah. So I just have to go. I have to go my route, you know, and everybody has their route, so I can't judge nobody for theirs.
1000%. And I would say, One thing that my parents did do, especially my mother, growing up with her, she's Haitian, and I was super close with my Haitian side of my family, and what we used to do every single year, it would be like 15, 20 of us. We would just go family vacation every year, right? And we would go places. We would not stay in the U.S. We would go visit in the Caribbean, go to Canada, gone to Europe. And they would save all year just to take this one trip. But anytime I went on these trips, man, it was just like it's another world, and there's a lot of people that don't get the opportunity. And one thing I'll drop right here is travel. I mean,
facts.
If you don't travel, then you're really missing out on a lot of things, because just seeing it's going back to Dubai and UAE, as we talked about earlier. Going there and seeing how governance is done there, I'm like, it makes a lot of places governance look like a joke. Honestly, just how the way that they put things together, even from just coordinating traffic. Just they're using the best technology that they can to make sure that that traffic is minimal. If there's an accident, it doesn't cause much more traffic. They have a lot of things. Just a small example. So when you're able to go out there, travel, see abroad, and I've done multiple trips to Africa. I mean, that's another thing that a lot of people don't get, and for viewers that are in let's say considered first world countries like the U.S., Europe, etc. People think that we have it bad here. We don't, man. We do not have it bad here. First of all, I mean, I've seen the slums in Africa, in South America. I've seen the worst of the worst places ever, and it makes the projects in the U.S. look like a 5-star resort.
I say that all the time. A lot of times people think like, that you're poor in this country, but there's so many government assisted programs that look, I'm not saying it's easy. That's not what I'm saying at all. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's the life to live, or, you should want to strive for that because it's great. It's not, I understand. If you're there, work so you can get out of there. But like you mentioned, all these other countries, and you see the way these people live. I read this in a book one time, and they talked about how if somebody was complaining about their life, and then they said, okay, well, let me ask you this. If I were to take every human being in this earth and put them in a marble, and I'm going to put that marble in a big bag, and I'm going to take your marble, which is your life, I'm going to drop it in the bag, and I'm going to shake the marble, I'm going to shake up the bag. Were you willing to pick another marble as opposed to your life? Because the amount of people that have a life better than yours, not the quantity, but in the percentage compared to the whole entire world, is minuscule. So, you might go and pick up a marble and be, somebody missing, limbs, or they're living in a war country where there's not a war-torn country where they don't even have clean water, and then you're complaining because the internet acts up, like
what do we really are?
First world problems.
First world problems, exactly.
So people don't understand, like, everything starts with be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. I'm grateful, and I rattle it off. The first thing I do when I wake up, it's the last thing I do when I go to sleep. So I wake up and I know the day, like, grateful. I'm grateful for this. I promise you, take a book, you start writing down everything to be grateful for, you'll have the page filled up, and you just scratch the surface. So people don't understand. So start off with be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. You can't accept the universe to give you more if you're not even grateful for what you already have.
I mean, you need to be, because ultimately, I mean, like you said, how can you be ingratiated with more things if you don't appreciate the things that you do have? It's not possible. I mean, if you're someone with a beat up car and you hate your car, you're like, oh, this car is the worst. I'm so driving this car. Well, guess what? There's a lot of people out there that's walking and taking a bus. There's riding a bicycle to get to work.
Exactly, and and following on that is, at the same time, you got the people who hate on the wealthy, hate on the rich. Well, if you hate on the rich, you hate on the wealthy, you're telling the universe that you hate success, and you will never achieve it for yourself.
Yes, 100%. Mindset, man, it's mindset. I think that's probably one of the biggest overarching things of this themes of this conversation is being able to cultivate your mindset to where you want to, for one, secure more knowledge, right? 2, develop a relationship spiritually. 3, understanding that there's so much information out there and knowing the proper way to go out there and secure your information. And that all starts with mindset, right? If you have a mindset that's, as they say, a poor mindset, a poor person mentality, right, then you're always going to be poor. One of the things, that's some of the things I argue with some of my relatives in my family. You know, they be like, "Oh, I'm poor, I can't spend money on this." I'm like, "Oh, stop saying you're poor. Stop saying you're poor.
Oh my gosh.
Say you're the one of say you're blessed beyond belief, because guess what? If you're saying you're poor, then guess what? You're always gonna be.
Oh, 100%. People don't understand that everything in this planet, it starts up here. You say I'm poor, and guess what? It's in your mind. It's in reality. That's where everything starts. Everything starts with up here, and it goes out. I talk to people a lot about this. But, the Bible teaches whether you want to, whatever your faith may be. There's a lot of principles in the Bible that are essential to this, to living, and essential to understanding the way the world works. They talk about it right there in Genesis, the beginning. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. I mean, it's talking about speaking it into existence.
Yes.
Like, it's right there.
At the beginning of it, there's this old, this old quote, "I think, therefore I am." Right. So basically, I mean, whatever you think is basically who you are. If you think you're overwhelmed, you think that you're a loser, you think that you're unsuccessful, you think that you're a failure, well, you're going to remain in that position. The mindset is, it could literally be a complete life change just by changing your mindset alone.
Yeah, I did through one of the books I read that talked about putting a plan together to where, if you ever thought of something negative, just stop it right there. And then that helped me change my mentality a lot, because first I didn't realize how many negative thoughts came into your brain. And no matter how positive you are, like for every positive thought you have, there's going to be a numerical, multiple, negative. It just flows in and out. It's natural. But stopping it right there and dead in its track is just completely shifted my mind. And I saw how much better things were after the fact. It's important when you're in manifestation, and you believing things, and you start to put things out into the universe, and it starts appearing into this world. I'm a big proponent of manifestation, because I know it's real, because I've seen it happen to me numerous times.
No, likewise, man, likewise, and I think that's like I said, one of the things I'm trying to develop, even spirituality, is understanding that what the energy that we put out is what we get back per, right?
100%.
And it all starts with the mindset, and also another thing that I'm learning is what's in your heart, right? So if you're someone that wants to make millions of dollars because you want to shit on somebody else, then it's not the best way to go about that.
Your value for the universe is not as great, so they're gonna maybe focus their attention on somebody else.
Exactly. But if you're like, listen, in my heart, I want to become a millionaire because, I want to take care of my family. I want to take care of the people that are closer to me. I want to give people jobs. I want to save people's lives with, the things that I want to create. That's you're more likely to have positive things come into your life, because you're doing things from an altruistic standpoint, right? You can still be an altruist and a business person at the same time, right? So for me, my professional career right now is business development, right? So I do a lot of business development for tech companies, and I primarily focus on renewable energy technology, right? So I'm doing a lot of things when it comes to like solar technology, water technology, and those types of things. And the technology is something I'm working with. We have the potential to make billions and billions of dollars. But ultimately, we're also saving lives, right? We're also giving people access to clean water.
Yeah.
We're giving people access to energy, where they can literally start, if they wanted to start their business, let's say in a northern part of the world where they're not having access to sustainable energy or energy 24 hours a day, and they want to work 24 hours, they want to work a significant amount of time during the day. A lot of times people have to build their whole schedule on when they'll have power for the day, right? And so, what I'm trying to do with my partners is that we want to be in the business of helping people, but we'll also, obviously make a lot of money at the same time. So I'm not saying that people have to align their priorities with helping people, but what I would say is, just look into your heart as to what you want these things for, and really think about it deeply, because if you're looking to do things just to hurt other people, take advantage of other people, just use relationships and take advantage of the earth and things of that nature, I mean, you can have $1 million. I mean, what's his name? Apple, Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs. He was a street smart guy. He made millions. He's about to die to a very terrible disease, and I'm not saying that's part of. I'm not trying to cast any aspersions on Steve Jobs because I didn't know him as a person, but I just know what I've read about him.
Yeah.
And things that he's done. And, you know, he's definitely hurt a lot of people, but he's made a lot of good with the company that he's created. Look how the way he went out. There's a lot of people out there who are extremely wealthy, but they're living poorly.
Yeah, that's true. And a lot of that stuff builds up inside of you. I think what people don't understand is that at the same exact time that there's a lot of things like stress, you know, just that build up inside of you, things that you can't see that end up, you know, being your demise. I mean, all that ends up energy inside your body. Our body is like, it's a perfect machine, but when you start bringing in certain things, you know, negative energies, etc., and you bring that into your life, that stuff manifests inside into different diseases, and that stuff ends up, like you said, being your demise. So I think people have to understand, like you said, the why. But people talk about the why a lot, and it's like, why do you do what you do? And I think that's just as important as what you do.
You know, absolutely, man, and that's so crucial. And I know for me, you know, one of the things that I started to realize over the last like 2-3 years is that, you know, the people that I'm starting to acquaint myself with a lot more, they're on a pathway. Their why is to help people, right? And it's opened up significant amount of doors. And once I start to realize that, it changed my mindset on like, why am I doing the things that we're doing? I mean, so I went to school initially, you know, to build weapons. All right, and that's why I wanted to work for Lockheed Martin. I went to the University of Central Florida. They have a program with Lockheed. They have a huge Lockheed facility in Central Florida in Orlando. And I literally went there because I wanted to develop weapons, technology, build stuff. But then I had an epiphany. I was like, why do I want to build weapons, kill people, right? Why do I want to invent things and work for companies that do this? And I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to judge here, casting aspersions, because we need defense, right? Period, point blank. People mess with us, we got to defend ourselves. But ultimately, for me, I had to look inside the mirror. I had to look at the mirror and say, like, man, I want to do something that's going to help people. And then I completely shifted and went to energy. I'm like, there's so many people out there that don't have energy. They don't have power. You know, I mean, here in the U.S., I mean, we got power 24 hours a day, right? There's never a time where we don't have access to power unless there's a hurricane or some type of natural disaster that knocks it out. And if there's a power outage, you know, we have a major, FPL company that comes in and fixes it within a couple of hours, and we're back.
Yeah, you know, honestly, big thing about that is, like I said, with the why, etc., why you do things, because there's going to be a point where what you're doing is going to be a little difficult. You know, maybe there are people blessed that, you know, maybe it's easy the whole way through. Usually that's not the case. You know, it can happen. But when it gets tough, when it gets to the point where you hit your roadblock, like that why is gonna push you. If your why is, I want to be a millionaire so I can buy a yacht and I can have, you know, a gang of women in my boat and I can do whatever I want. Like, there's gonna be one time where, you know, like you're going through some things, maybe you're going through some contracts, you're going through your business, you're like, do I really care about that? Like, whatever, you quit. But like you said, your why is because you want to help people, because you know that you could change a whole continent to where a lot of these countries don't have the energy, and you're like, man, like I'm at a roadblock here. This is tough. And you're like, but if I were to give up right now, like what I'm going through right now is a mere speck in comparison to the people that how they're living right now, because they're out here, you know, with no energy, with no nothing, with no this, with no that. And if I were to stop, they could possibly be like that for the rest of their lives and for future generations.
No, 1,000%, man. And it's like I said, I'm gonna keep reiterating. It's just the mindset. Just finding out, you know, how all of this aligns with yourself.
What's up, bro?
Finding the best way to go about a lot of things. So, you know, I think that's super crucial. And, you know, as I mentioned before, once you start traveling and seeing a lot of different things, you know, it starts a lot of things start revealing themselves to you. You know, I didn't have this mindset, you know, when I first got into business. Is something that's been cultivated over the last several years to where I am now. You know, and in traveling, you know, kind of, you know, putting it together with the business, right? I learned in my international diversification.
I didn't know what to do because I either charge with, you know, my brother is a cop.
Businesses overseas, right? You have offshore company. You know, a lot of people don't know this. You know, if you go to, let's say, you go to a country like, let's say, the Seychelles or Mauritius, right? I can open up an IBC, which is International Business Corporation over there. I can divert funds to that company. I can pay it out to me anywhere I want in the world, right? The company jurisdiction is there. I can have a bank account in another location, and this is all legitimate. This is all legal. And these are how the wealthy people go about doing a lot of things, right? So, perfect example, Apple, right? Apple's IP is based in Ireland.
Yep.
All of their IP is in Ireland, and what they do is they license out the IP to the U.S. based company. And then so when they're paying their taxes and when they're not paying taxes, as they say, paying off a huge expense for IP. So they're saying, okay, the IP costs $10 billion a year, right? So guess what? They're writing off $10 billion of their expenses because they have internationalized their company.
Exactly. No, it's funny because I saw the structure one time. I saw Ireland, Isle of Man is somewhere in between there as well. Like all these jurisdictions, but you're right. And I think I don't know. I mean, most people know how it works, but I think also people have to. Not a lot of people understand because I didn't really understand the whole deduction part, but. It's not necessarily free money. It's just taking the amount of money. Let's say you made $100 billion, but you have 50 billion tax write-offs. Now it doesn't mean. What it means is now you're just paying taxes on 50 billion, not 100 billion.
Correct.
So a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think that it means something completely different, but now that's exactly what it means. And it's important because when you get to certain areas, that puts you in it could put you in a different bracket. At that level, after a certain billion, there's only one bracket. But if you're in between, let's say you're coming up, you could literally be in a bracket. Could change with your deductions, to change, you 10%, 5%. That 5% difference is huge.
Immense. And one thing I'll drop some knowledge right now. A lot of people don't know this. I forgot the name of the bill that passed last year during the Recovery Act, I think it was called.
Yeah.
They put into a policy for a tax policy now for the year 2021 and 2022. So basically, when you're filing your taxes, for the past year and for next year and 2023 for 2022, you can actually have a deduction for all of your food. Everything from a restaurant, from groceries,
I didn't know that's a thing.
for businesses. So it's 100% deduction now. Before it was a pro rata, it was a ratio share of it, but now you can deduct all of it, 100% of it as a business expense.
Yeah, and honestly, if anybody owns a business, I would suggest you look into it because different businesses, have different. You have the ability to deduct different things. Like certain businesses, as I think even believe, and don't quote me on this, like real estate. You can buy if you have. Buy luxury clothing, like fine clothing, because you have to go, be presentable. You can write that off.
Absolutely.
A lot of people aren't utilizing all the write-offs.
If you work at home, you can write up your electricity bill.
Yep.
You can write up, a lot of things. Amenity stuff that you have to pay for in the home. Can be written off because it's an expensive work, especially now. With the pandemic, so many businesses have moved virtually, completely virtually. People are working from home a lot more than they ever been. You have a company that works from home, you can literally pay the company, and then the company pays you. You own the company, the company pays you. You write up all those expenses.
Yeah, it's funny too because my mentor, Michael, in the financial services, I think last month. I'm not gonna put his money out there, but he made a huge jump. But it's because of Zoom. Back in the days. When you're sitting down with people to put their plans together, to put their, retirement, their insurance, etc., or even meet with your agents to help them grow, you're driving to the office, you're driving here, you're driving there, you have to meet people in their houses. Like now it's like, I'm in my office, my Zoom is from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4 to 4 to 5, you just hit these different Zoom meetings, and now you saw 10 people in a day where you wouldn't be able to see 10 people because you just don't have that wherewithal. There's not enough time of the day. You have to go from one place to another place. You have to eat in between. You have to do this. You have to do that. And now, like you said, Zoom has completely changed the game. All these online meeting, apps. They've changed the game because now you can do. And again, this is not for every business. This is not for everybody. But you can do a lot of meetings like just from the comfort of your home. You could be with. Like Africa, UAE. You could be here, you can be there, without ever, with only moving your mouse or clicking a button. So that's completely changed the dynamic of business for the better.
Absolutely, man. It's so crucial to incorporate new technology into your business as well. When it comes to understanding, I think there's if you look at a business, I think it's obviously multi-layered, right? You have accounting, you have technology, which is a crucial part of it. You have whatever the actual business product is, it's a huge thing. And then the people that's involved in the business, in the process that goes with it. All of these things are key attributes for the business. And, you need to make sure that whenever you are developing business, you have to really look at the way to optimize it and to make it the most proper.
100%.
For me, before I went to the UAE, I had a plethora of calls, Zoom calls, meetings with people over there before we even decided. Before we even stepped over there, because we knew that there's certain prerequisites that needed to be done, certain things that needs to happen. We incorporated certain things, relationships were built. I'm working with a company based in Japan, and I'm also working with a company domestically here in the U.S. And these are dynamic companies, super dynamic companies. I mean, they're talking about 12 hours different in hours. We're talking about, of course, Japan. The UAE right now, because daylight savings is now 8 hours now, so it's but we're all able to still work collaboratively because of technology. So kind of incorporating technology, even what is it called, business software, right? Like what is it called, an Asana, or these business project management Slack, etc. Putting those types of things and you're incorporating into your business is so crucial, because you're able to now monitor and manage, the productivity, how things are working. Okay, is this file particularly closed? Is it open? Do I need to follow up with this person? A lot of things.
Imagine how long it would take you, if you had to step on, all the pre-meetings, all the, everything you went into before your trip to Dubai, to your Abu Dhabi, wherever. Imagine you get that on their soil in person. How much longer that would take? How much cost? Hotel, you're there for X amount of time, so now you're buying more food, you're buying this, you're doing that, and all before you even making your first cent, which obviously is still coming about. But doing that, it's just gonna be more cost. A lot of people run out of money before they can even get to the finish line. They can even get to the starting line. Let me not say the finish line. We get to the starting line.
You got to find ways, like I said, with technology, you can boost up your productivity immensely. Just by changing and tweaking a few different things. Going back to the internet is literally a gateway to limitless information and knowledge, and just trying to find out what's the best way to incorporate certain attributes and things into your corporate structure.
No, 100%, and that's extremely factual. And at the end of the day, like I said, like everything, people, there's a good light and a bad light to everything, but it's all how you use it. And we all have access to it. The same internet that's helping you grow exponentially, the same internet that's helping me grow exponentially. A lot of people use it for, that waste time to watch, cat videos or whatever, and you're not properly utilizing it. Maybe if you enjoy that, it's cool.
That's a good point.
But it's the same internet. It's the same exact internet. So now it's like, how are you going to use it?
No, 100%. It's so funny you mention that, because I one point in time, this was maybe like 2-3 years ago, obviously Instagram is such a popular, medium for people, and that's the platform I use. And then, it dawned on me one day, I was like, man, I'm following a lot of just women, honestly. There's a lot of women being very sexual, and how they dress and whatnot. And not casting any aspersion on them.
Sex sells.
Exactly. They all look amazing. They're all great looking women. But ultimately, what was I feeding myself? What was I feeding myself? Conscious, right?
The spirit.
Exactly. So I literally did a purge of all the random IG models and people that I'll never meet, I'll never know, and I started following more profiles that were conducive to what I want in my life, right? So following, news when it comes to business, I'm doing a lot of work in the UAE, so I'm following all the top UAE companies, we're literally using the same platform, right? I can use the platform for knowledge in terms of being able to acquire information about certain things that I'm doing in my life, and somebody else will do this just to
slide in the DM.
Exactly. It's just for, the shits and giggles. But, I think it's important that, we try to find a way to incorporate even, social media and other things, and trying to find the most appropriate way to utilize it to benefit your life and uplift it.
100%. Me personally, I'm actually don't even have Instagram on my phone, and it's part of I need it for my my podcast, of course, it helps, grow the podcast, but I don't even have it on my phone because I know that you see so much time can be diverted because people jump on their feed and just start scrolling and start scrolling and start scrolling. Like I don't give myself even the option to. So I keep it on my laptop. I have my laptop here. I do this, I do that, I do everything, and then when the time comes, I compartmentalize my day to where, okay, let me work on the podcast today, or let me work on my page for Instagram today, or let me do this at this time, and just put, the biggest thing I think I did for this year, one of the biggest things was get a planner. I think, and not even just on my phone, because it's always around you. You might be able to just let it slide. I do have my important dates and times for meetings on there, but physically writing down my calendar, opening the days. I like this calendar because it asks me what am I excited for today? What will I improve on today? At the end of the day, it says rate your productivity of the day. So I need to sit down, I need to look at my calendar, and I need to say, I need to stop and I need to think about it. I gotta do this. How did I improve today? And you know what? At the end of the day, you need to be truthful to yourself and say, well, was your productivity a 10? I probably wasn't. Even if you're one of the most productive as possible, there's always areas where you can improve upon. So it just causes you to kind of be real with yourself and understand okay, I did this, and then you start looking at your calendar, you're like, there's a lot of blank space here. I can do stuff in here. I can do productive stuff. Yes, and at the same time, it's also about incorporating, fun, incorporating your family, incorporating your friends, incorporating, time for God, incorporating everything to your life. So yeah, you can't just, take up the whole day, for business. But at least you can start realizing where you're not being as productive. You can start understanding okay, well here I can do this, here I should be doing this, and you started to be aware. That's the most important. I think that's the best phrase to put it. Is be aware about your time and be honest with yourself.
No, for sure, man. And the plan is such a good thing. That's something I started picking up over the last few years as well. What I do in the mornings is I get up and I'm like, all right, what do I got to do? I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. And then, towards the day, I go refer to them, check this out. Oh crap, I forgot I needed to do this.
Exactly.
You'll be surprised how much stuff you forget you need to do if you don't write it down.
Exactly.
And for me, I'm super that's one of the things that I always, especially my mom growing up, she's always critiqued me on, because my mind is working out things on so many other stuff. And sometimes, the small things I need to get my ID changed.
Yeah.
It expires, or paying my phone bill. Little stuff like that.
Yeah. It's that we have so many. We both have so much important things going on that sometimes the small things that are equally important, but they're not maybe something in the forefront of your mind. Start to slip out of the way. So I think it's extremely important. To be able to keep track, to be able to be more responsible. This is all important. At the end of the day, too, a big part of this, I think, is with the planner is just, another thing I like to live off with, I believe it's, I think it's a SEAL saying, but, a lot of my mentors talk about it, but embrace the suck, right? So I think that's extremely important, because if you don't enjoy your journey, the destination is not going to be as good. You have to understand that the journey is part of the destination.
Oh yeah, man. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you. Quick story. So one of my first forays into business, we're a telco company. I worked in energy companies. When I was done with college. And then I transitioned into business development. So, I had a lot of relationships in Africa. I brought a company to do a major energy project in Africa, but unfortunately it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Right? For a myriad of different reasons. And I was heartbroken. Honestly, I was sad.
You already know how it is. Putting these deals together, working months, working weeks, contracts, exchanging contracts back and forth, and then nothing happens.
And nothing happens, and it's just you're just oh my God, I spent all this time, this energy, and then sometimes you're like, man, why am I even doing this?
Yeah,
right?
A lot of times.
You get into position. I mean, there's been years where I've done really well for myself, right? And then there's been other times where it's just man, it's been hard.
Yeah,
really hard. So just kind of finding that embrace, how you said, embracing the suck, because it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Actually, even the most successful people, they still have things that happen to them all the time. I watched this this documentary the other day about about Boeing. It was a great one on Netflix. And as Boeing was developing, this was in relation to the crash, right? The airline.
Oh yeah.
When they had those crash, one of their new commercial passenger jets, a company hemorrhage. People in the company were just devastated about it, right? We're talking about almost an institutionalized entity.
Yeah.
Boeing makes, not only for the private sector, but for the public sector, for the military and defense, they have billions and billions of dollars of contracts, right? They could have just, shut the door, after that whole situation and just said, we're just going to close up shop now. But no, they continue to thrive. They continue to develop their business. It will continue to be in existence for several decades to come. Because honestly, stuff will happen, and it's not about it's about overcoming those objectives.
100%. I mean, you see a lot of these companies that have been around for 100+ years, and yeah, it's not all just rainbows and unicorns.
Never is.
There's ups and downs to any company. I mean, even if you look at the market itself, it's an example of it. It's a cyclical. You're gonna get, for the most part, every 10 years the cycle's gonna go back around. You got your recession, then you got your depressions. Then you got obviously your peaks. At the end of the day, what goes up ultimately must go down.
Yep.
And when it comes down, it's got to go back up again as well. So that's the thing that people don't understand. It's all cyclical. Just because you see that these companies make, X amount of billions, like you don't know what their losses are, you don't know what this are, you know what this is. So people don't understand, like, it's not just a straight trajectory to the top. Things happen all the time. There's every season. You got your harvest season. You got your rain season. You got the season. So there's just many seasons throughout any business, and that's not a lot of things that people who don't have businesses understand. They just see this.
Yeah.
You see what you put out, and that's why a lot of times also going back to IG. You have a lot of these people that all they put is private jets and this and that, and you don't really know what the backstory is.
Oh, man.
They might have just rented that private jet so that you could follow them.
Yeah.
You don't know what the case is. So it's really about getting behind the scenes. And unless you're a business owner or you're around them a lot, you don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes because most people won't show that.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
It's just a part of it, and it's a necessity.
It is. I would consider him a mentor for me now, and he's my business partner, Danny. This guy, he built up a venture capital firm in California. They had.
I talked to him a lot too. I didn't even know that.
No, yeah, he had a venture capital firm. At one point, they had almost $300 million in their management. Yeah, they were doing a lot of major products. They owned over 100 companies. They did a lot of different things, and he had a business partner. And this is another good point to touch on. Defining the people he work with. He had his business partner that he was working with, I think over the course of like 2 years developing this company. The guy literally cleared out the company, sent the money somewhere else.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a real gut punch, and basically, almost bankrupted him, and in a serious way. And now, he's basically rebuilding from scratch, he went through so much, and I really look up to him a lot because he's a guy, he's in his I think late 50s right now, and he is somebody that I lean on a lot because he's been through everything. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's lost it all. And right now he's still pushing, he's still going the distance. He has not stopped. He tells me all the time. He said it's either you live or you die. Period. It's either you're gonna live, you're gonna fight for what you want, and continue to move forward, or you're just gonna lay there and die. Take it.
Wrapping this all around, coming full circle to bring this to the end. I think what's really important about that is he's made money, he's lost money, but the one thing he's never lost is the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
The knowledge of how he made that money. The wins that he took, the losses that he took. I guarantee you, he's never gonna make that same mistake again. He learned from that.
Absolutely, man, and that's why. Myself, he considers me a partner and almost a brother. you know, even though he's much older than me, he even, you know, he tells me all the time, like, Steven, you know, I learned so much from you, and I'm telling him, he's like, nah, I learned a lot from you, but he's still so open to learning and getting, even from a guy who's, you know, 20 plus years his junior. He still looks to me, you know, for information and understanding on a lot of different things. And, you know, the people that, you know, our core, you know, group of people, you know, we all have it in our hearts to be good people, you know, above all else.
Yeah, you know, and it's something you need to humble yourself sometimes. Like, you can learn from everybody. You know, I can teach somebody something, and at the same time, somebody can teach me something. So we're all in this earth together. We're all here to learn from each other. And we're all here to help each other grow. So you can grow from almost anybody. You just need to be able to sit down and listen and find out what they have to teach you. So again, brother, I learned so much from you today. You know, I've known you for almost 4 years, and there's a lot of things I didn't know. So I appreciate your time, brother. I truly do. Thank you for being on here.
It's my pleasure, man. It's always a pleasure. I'm here anytime. You and I talk every day, anyways.
Exactly.
So, you know, we're just basically converting our personal conversations and putting on the podcast.
And we're putting it for other people to listen to.
Yeah, man. You know, give God the glory. And,
Amen.
You know, we do everything to make, you know, to make the world a much better place as we can.
Amen. You know, brother. Thank you.
My pleasure, bro.